Today, the topic of the video will be Pakistan-India conflict, which happened on March 7, 2025. Teachings of the Osho is explained and deeply discussed in this video that too in Osho's AI.
They tell you who the enemy is. They draw a line on a map, and suddenly you are no longer brothers, you are rivals. They speak in the name of nation, of pride, of religion. But behind those words, there are only frightened people pretending to be powerful. And you, the ordinary person, whether you are born in India or in Pakistan, you are the one who pays the price. Osho reminds us again and again, war is not born from courage. It is born from fear. Only a deeply unconscious mind desires to harm another. Only those who are asleep can celebrate destruction. The awakened one sees no boundaries, no Hindu, no Muslim, no Indian, no Pakistani, only human beings struggling, suffering, seeking peace. What is a country really? A flag, a song, a border, or is it just a story you were taught to believe? Imagine this. A woman in Karachi and a woman in Delhi both wake up to make breakfast. Both send their children to school, both worry about the rising prices, and both cry when their sons don't return home from war. Who created the enemy? Not the mothers, not the people, but those who benefit from division. Hatred is taught. Love is natural. The heart does not know politics. It only knows connection. The moment you meet another human being, face to face, eye to eye, all the false walls collapse. You see their tears, their laughter, their longing, and in that moment you recognize yourself. Osho says that real revolution will not come from violence. It will come from consciousness, and the conscious man does not fight for flags. He fights for love, for understanding, for silence. He does not burn bridges, he builds them. So if you are watching this, and you have ever felt anger, rage, or pride in harming another in the name of your country, pause. Breathe, look deeper, ask yourself, is this your truth, or is it someone else's voice echoing in your mind? The world does not need more martyrs, it needs more meditators. When you see the innocent faces behind the noise of the news, when you feel the trembling hands of a father whose child was caught in a crossfire, you begin to understand nobody wins a war. The only thing that remains is silence, and not the sacred silence of meditation, but the heavy silence of grief. Osho warns us that we have been hypnotized by slogans, by flags, by the intoxication of power. We chant words we do not understand. We carry hatred for people we've never met. We rejoice in the suffering of those we've never spoken to. This is not humanity, this is madness passed down in the name of pride. And yet there is hope, because the light of awareness is always stronger than the darkness of ignorance. One aware person, standing in love, can shift the energy of thousands still stuck in hate. One conscious being, choosing silence over revenge, creates a ripple that touches the hearts of many. We must ask, who are the real victims? Is it the soldier in uniform, trained to shoot before thinking? Or is it the child who hides under a table, not knowing what she has done to deserve this fear? The real victims are not the leaders who sit in comfortable rooms making decisions. The real victims are the people, the farmers, the teachers, the shopkeepers, the lovers on both sides, who never asked for a war but always suffer its consequences. And the real attackers are not those with guns in hand, but those who plant the seeds of hate. The voices that tell you to fight, not knowing your story, not caring about your pain, they are the ones who fuel the fire from afar, never getting burned themselves. Osho calls this spiritual blindness, a state where man forgets his essence and becomes a tool in someone else's game. He forgets he was born free, and starts living as a programmed machine, repeating what others told him, reacting instead of responding. But remember, you are not a machine. You are not here to repeat history. You are here to awaken, to break the cycle, to see through the illusion of us and them. There is no them. There is only us. A Pakistani man praying for peace is no different from an Indian man meditating for love. A heart is a heart, no matter which side of the border it beats. And if enough people realize this truth, if enough of us stop and look with open eyes, then wars will have no fuel, no soldiers, no meaning. They will collapse under their own weight, because war needs division to survive. Peace needs only awareness, so choose awareness. Peace is not the absence of war. Peace is the presence of understanding. It is not something that leaders sign on paper. It is something that blooms within the heart of an individual when he chooses love over anger, stillness over noise, compassion over judgment. Osho says, the only holy war is the war against unconsciousness. And in this war, we do not need weapons, we need awareness, we need courage not to kill, but to question, not to hate, but to hug, not to react, but to reflect. Imagine if each child in both nations were taught meditation instead of military slogan. If every school in Kashmir and Punjab taught stillness, breath, and silence, not rivalry, revenge, and flags, how different would our world be? There would be fewer soldiers, but more sages, fewer martyrs, but more masters. No need for borders, only bridges. But the problem is, peace doesn't make noise. Bombs make headlines, not the man feeding a hungry stranger, not the woman praying for a soldier on the other side. The media glorifies chaos, not compassion. Because war sells, peace transforms silently. You have to become that silence, that still, unwavering presence that refuses to be provoked by propaganda. What does it truly mean to be a patriot? Osho redefines patriotism not as loyalty to a land or a flag, but loyalty to truth. Real patriotism is seeing your own people in every face. Real patriotism is protecting all life, not just the lives within your border. When you realize the entire earth is your home and every being is your family, only then you become truly patriotic. The real courage today is not in fighting. The real courage is in refusing to hate. A man who forgives not because he is weak, but because he understands, is far more powerful than one who takes revenge. Because forgiveness ends the cycle, revenge only feeds it. This is not just a message for Indians or for Pakistanis. This is a message for every human trapped in the illusion of enemies. You may be hurt. You may have lost someone. You may feel anger. That is natural. But Osho says, don't live in that wound. Heal it. Transform it. Let it become your mirror. Let it show you the cost of unconsciousness, and let it awaken you. Because only those who have suffered can become truly compassionate. Pain can make you bitter, or it can make you wise. The choice is yours. If you can look into the eyes of the so-called enemy and still see fear, longing, and the same hunger for peace, then you have already stepped into the light. The real revolution has already begun within you. Osho reminds us again and again, when you drop your identity, your labels, your pride, when you become just a pure presence, then you are no longer Indian or Pakistani. You are human. You are divine. You are awake, and the awakened one does not need a sword. His silence is enough. His presence is enough. He becomes a living invitation to peace. We don't need more nations rising against each other. We need more individuals rising within themselves, becoming so full of light that there's no space left for hate. The truth is simple. No war has ever solved anything. It only postpones the real transformation that needs to happen inside each of us. Politicians will come and go. Borders may shift, but the human heart remains the same, longing to be heard, seen, understood, and loved. You are not powerless. You are the seed of that change. The moment you stop cursing the other side, the moment you stop labeling, blaming, and reacting, and instead close your eyes, breathe, and connect with the silence within, you become a flame, a light unto yourself. And that light spreads. It spreads through your words, your actions, your energy. You become the rebellion, not the loud, angry kind, but the quiet, radiant kind. The kind that does not burn others, but illuminates their darkness. This is what the world needs, not more speeches, not more parades, but more stillness, more inner peace, more hearts that refuse to be filled with second-hand hate. Osho's vision was of a world without borders. Not because the world should be lawless, but because humanity should be bound by love, not land. His words are not political. They are existential. They remind us of a truth deeper than nationality, the truth that we were born not to fight, but to awaken. So be the one who awakens, even if the world sleeps. Be the one who loves, even when others hate. Be the one who builds while others destroy. That is the only revolution that matters now. You may not be able to stop a war with your hands. You may not sit at any negotiation table, but you hold within you something far more powerful, the capacity to choose. To choose how you think, how you speak, how you respond. That is where real change begins. When enough individuals refuse to carry inherited hatred, when enough people dare to say, "Not in my heart, not in my name," the collective unconscious begins to shift. Wars become harder to justify. Violence loses its audience. Peace becomes inevitable. Osho spoke not to countries, but to souls. His words were for the individual, the one who dares to wake up, even if the whole village is dreaming. He said, only the individual can be transformed, and once the individual is transformed, he becomes contagious. So if you, even for a moment during this message, have felt your heart soften, let that moment grow. Let it touch your thoughts, your conversations, your decisions. Let it turn into a way of life. This is how peace is built, quietly, person by person, thought by thought. The child across the border is not your enemy. The woman wearing different clothes is not your threat. The man praying in a different language is not against you. These are your reflections, different only on the surface, the same essence beneath. This understanding is not weakness. It is the highest strength, because anyone can strike in anger, but to hold your fire, to open your heart, to choose stillness, this takes real power. No one is born to kill. No one is born to hate. These are learned, and if they can be learned, they can be unlearned. Today, begin that unlearning. Let go of what others told you. Question what you've been taught. Look for yourself. Feel for yourself. Decide for yourself. And as you return to your true self, not the citizen, not the soldier, not the label, but the silent, watchful awareness inside, you'll see there was never a war. Only a misunderstanding, a dream mistaken for reality. Wake up. Let your life be a message of peace. Let your silence be louder than 1,000 slogans. Let your presence speak what words never can, that love is the only truth and everything else is just noise. This is the way of awareness. This is the teaching of truth. This is the revolution of peace.